Alright guys, we're going to be using the Cat 590 today, which is obviously the 275 and the 315. Got a demo job to do, but before we get started on it, we've got a bunch of overgrown bushes slash small trees right back over in here, and a few more over the edge of the hill that we need to clean up. We're going to clean up the whole lot here when we demo this house and try to make a nice blank canvas for someone to build a new project. We're saving the well. Of course, there's a power pole back there, and the septic system doesn't appear to be too awful old, so we're going to try to salvage all that, but get rid of the house and all the concrete and regrade it all out real nice so someone can start over fresh to build their dream house or shouse or barn or cabin or whatever it is they're going to end up building here. So let's get started. Alright, so we're getting started here. We've got a few trees to take out. This one right in front of me and a few of them down there. I didn't think that one would put up too much of a fight. Really like this. I think they call it a stumper, this attachment that I've got. Let's see if I can get a little bit more brushing that bite. So I'm not tracking over the top of it and pound it into the dirt. It's a little better. One thing I don't care for on this Cat is you can't turn that beeper off to where it stays off. Not that I have found anyway. I drove someone else's, I forget what brand it was, but you could hit the button once after you start it up to turn off the beeper and it would stay off until you either turn it back on or you turn the machine off and turn it back on. Try not to get slapped in the face too bad with those limbs. Move some of this stuff off to the side because I really need to dig a hole. I'm going to have some ash pile and some stuff to have to bury here. Hydraulics are still a little bit cold. Moving a little slow this morning. It's 17 degrees. Started today. I know you can't see it from the camera angle. I can't get it tilted down steep enough, but I've got a push blade on the front of this excavator. It's a 40,000 pound Cat 315, and I personally don't know why anybody would want to own an excavator without a blade on it, even if it was one of the big 80,000 pounders or bigger. Like, it comes in so handy, especially clearing lots and just clearing in general. You can remove a bunch of trees like what I'm doing here, and if you're taking them to a dozer pile, whenever you head back to get more trees, you just drop that blade down into float and it helps level and fill holes without any extra effort. Big old dead oak tree. I've got a Cat 306 also. It's obviously nicer to have this one for bigger jobs like this. The only downside is I've got to pay someone to haul it for me, but I've had people say you should buy a dump truck and a lowboy trailers, you don't have to pay someone else to haul your equipment around. I can haul my smaller machines with my 450, but whenever it comes to a 40,000 pound machine plus the trailer weight, it's a little bit too much for the 450. But as far as buying a dump truck and a lowboy trailer, if someone gave me a dump truck for free and a trailer, I wouldn't be able to put brakes on it, fuel in it, and insure it for what it costs me to pay someone else to move it a dozen times a year, or whatever the case may be. And oh, there goes a little rat. Guess I'm disturbing his home. But yeah, it wouldn't be, as long as I'm staying a one-man show like I am now. If you wanted to hire 3 or 4 employees and try to go bigger, then it might be worth it to have your own dump truck, because you try to put someone in it driving to let it help pay for itself. But as far as a one-man show, there's no way it would justify the cost of buying a dump truck and trailer. Like I said, the expenses themselves, probably the insurance on it in a year is probably more than what I pay to have this thing hauled around. Not to mention the extra licensing for the extra heavier weights and air brakes, all that kind of stuff. Just not worth it in my opinion as a one-man show. It's a pretty big oak tree. Let's see if I can lift it without having to cut it up. Got it up in the air, but that one limb is still hanging up on the ground. I would just leave this tree right where it's at, but that's about the spot where I want to put. Let's see if I can break the end off of that. Not because it's too heavy, but it's too long for me to be able to swing it around here in between the machine and the trees that are next to me that I'm planning on leaving. Didn't bring the chainsaw today to whack it off. Mostly planning on just, there we go, kind of getting some of this stuff moved out of the way, dig the hole, got the equipment moved, and trying to get a good start to where I can show up tomorrow morning with everything else that I need and get a good full day in tomorrow. That's a nice little white oak right there. I'm going to try to keep from damaging it. It's a young one, but nice and straight and looks healthy. Is that a rock? Finishing up this last little bit of brush here next to the house so we can have room to get a dumpster or two parked in here for the demo. A lot of times if you got the right size of stuff that pulls up easy enough, you can just kind of grab one, and before you even dump that load, just reach over and grab the next sprout, and then the next, and the next, and like pulling weeds out of a garden. Looks like there's some old railroad ties that are about 90% rotten in here too. I'm sure whenever they first planted whatever kind of bushes these are, probably looked real pretty, but then after a few years they got out of control and get to the point where you can't or don't maintain them, and they get out of control, and then it just looks like a brush pile instead of a pretty manicured little garden area. Got this spot cleaned up now. I'm just gonna blade it off and track it in so that if we do get a little bit of rain, you don't get much erosion, and also pack it in a little bit better so we can be able to get a trailer parked in here, or like I said, the roll-off dumpsters for the demo and whatnot. Have a spot right next to the house to be able to get all that work done. The closer you can get it, the better. So that'll probably wrap up this video. Just gotta dig a hole down here now. It's probably be the last of what I do today before I start huffing and puffing and working the electric over hydraulic controls to blow the house down. Thanks for watching, guys.